This morning I wrote on Facebook, what if we knew, completely knew, that there really were no answers to our questions? If we, literally, there is no answer for our spiritual or any of our conceptual questions. Who am I? What is life about? Does life have a purpose? All those questions have no answer. What if we knew that beyond any shadow of a doubt? Well, first of all, then we'd stop asking them. I mean, they're kind of on a tape, aren't they? And they keep on repeating themselves in consciousness. And then some other part of our psyche attaches themselves to the questions and go, yeah, this question's good. I really need to know the answer of it. Who am I? That's a good question. I've read it everywhere. That's the core question. Who am I? Well, if we knew that that there were no answers to any of those questions, every time that question came up, we'd ignore it. It would have no more importance to us. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. When we affix or attach importance to those questions, we create an identity. We become the self-inquirer. We become the spiritual person. I'm meditating and I'm asking myself the question, who am I? Okay, now I know the question has no answer because someone said that maybe that's true. It has no answer. What happens then to that identity? That identity will then, it ceases to exist. Now what happens? Okay, what happens is yet another part of us has needed that identity. So now we're going pretty deep here. Part of us goes, wait, if I'm not spiritual, then who am I? Isn't that funny? It goes in a circular pattern. Now we're really confused. Who am I? But we've gone really from A, B, C, and then back to A. Okay, we started with the question, who am I? We see that our questions don't have answers, therefore the question isn't relevant. We see that the question itself asserts an identity, and when we realize that identity is no longer relevant or is nothing more than a conceptual thought, we return to our fundamental question, who am I? And we go right back from the beginning, and you see how this is just an absolute and total perfect treadmill. It's made by a beautiful designer, and the designer is, of course, what I've been saying for now, oh my God, umpteen years, this belief that as we are, there is something wrong with me. I need to correct it. I need to improve. I need to know more. I need to have more control of my life. I need. That's the thing that's fueling this. It's fueled me, God knows. And that's why I read about it. I've seen it play out in my own life. So here we are, return to our question. And so, as the terrific Benjamin Smythe, a Facebook friend of mine, pointed out, and I used, none of what we say is original, and I mean that with all due respect to Benjamin Smythe, and I also mean it for myself. Nothing we say is original. It's all been said before. These are just different packagings. I'm a packaging. Benjamin Smythe is a packaging. The Buddha is a packaging. It's all been said before. The you believe yourself, that too is a packaging. And so here's where it gets really a lot more interesting. When we see how the question creates an identity. And when we see that that identity is built on no foundation at all, it's built on an illusion, we are really left in a very awkward position. We're at really the very precipice, or that's not really, we're at the edge of a cliff looking down, and we don't like what we see because we've always needed this identity, this whatever it is. And so the question is, what do I do next? And of course, that I in that question is that identity that continues to question. It's the ultimate catch-22. And so let's look at this. We're going to try to answer this question in this short video. Those questions always assert a future. That what I don't know now, I will know sometime in the future. That future is also unreal. So the falseness of the spiritual identity is the one that projects a future. We all do this. And you don't have to be spiritual to do it. We all do it. This is the nature of psychology. This is the way the psychological being operates. When we realize that that too asserts an identity, what happens is we just give up. Doesn't mean we surrender. We see that the psychological identity, that which can see the whole psychological identity, and Krishnamurti was very good at saying this, the whole picture, the whole sense of feeling, of need, of desire, see the whole thing play out. The moment we see it, to some extent we begin diluting its power. And that's sort of the purpose of my own book and I think of other people making similar statements in the internet and in many other books. We see that if we are not this future, what we are is, if we're not this psychological identity, we are, as Eckhart Tolle says 1,000 times, we are this now. That's all we are. It's totally non-conceptual. We are this. Now, psychological identities don't like hearing that message. They like the story. They need to project the future. They need to ask the questions. And that too happens in the now. But the problem is, when we are attached to the story, we tend to push the now. We're not even aware of the now. We don't care about the now. We may read about it. It might sound good. It might appeal to that psychological entity, but it isn't real. Because for the now to be real, all of this stress of running to this carrot, and this is the part which was in Benjamin Smythe's terrific video, and I used exactly the same story in my book, Liberation from the Lie. We are chasing a carrot attached to a stick that is attached to our body. So the carrot, enlightenment or answering our questions, is always dangling just beyond our reach. So the harder we run, the faster it stays ahead of us. And the question becomes, well, who put the stick there and the carrot in the first place? And of course, that's another story. That's the birth of the inadequacy belief. But that's what we are doing in life. Whether we're trying to impress our friends with how smart we are, how beautiful and sexy we are, how spiritual we are, how nice we are. That's a good one. Niceness is very popular. And that's what we do. That's our identities. And as long as we're fixed to an identity, the now eludes us. And the now is our true home. And when you make the now your home, everything is transformed. Everything. The now is your home. And this is the message of Eckhart Tolle, Leonard Jacobson. And I don't want to attribute it to those where I'm not absolutely certain, but it's certainly a big part of my own I hate using the term message. The now is your home. And when the now is your home, you see that once you give that a chance to blossom, you see that it creates its own unfolding. And it happens. It must happen. Nothing can stop it from happening. The now and you are the one. That is the oneness. And that's how this all works. So, hope you've enjoyed this video. I have not been doing many videos because I think I'm clear as a writer. But then the funny thing is, I read what I write, and then I go, I'm not really saying what I want to say. Maybe I should make a video. So, that's just the way life plays out in this now. Thanks for watching.